The biggest difference when I started to analyze, I think, what's so special about this man? And I think he's the only one running that took the oath to do no harm. My name is Pat Gamble, and I became a Ron Paul supporter approximately a year ago. I'm a genetic counselor, and my life was spent raising children and married to the same man for 42 years. And so I decided I would become political. And I took everybody's name that was running, and I put in Google search, wire, crook, cheat, fraud, and I was shocked with what came up on Chris Christie, Mitt Romney. I couldn't believe it. And I got to Ron Paul, and I didn't know who he was. And I said to my husband, who is this man? And he said, I don't know. I know he's not a real, he doesn't believe in fighting in wars. And so I said, well, there's no negative feedback on him. And he said, oh, that's not true. And so he did the search, and he said, send him $500. We're going to support this man. I was a nurse before I became a genetic counselor, and I was practicing about the same time that Dr. Paul was practicing. And back in those days, you took the oath, do no harm, very seriously. So I think that makes a difference, and I really think that every time he makes a decision, he thinks, is this going to be harmful or not harmful? And I also think that we took an oath that when we made a mistake, we corrected it as quickly as possible because lives were at stake.
Brett Gaspard, come out here to support Ron Paul. Been following him for probably 10, 15 years.
Tell me a little bit about, I heard you mention something, you worked with Rand, is that right?
Yeah, Dr. Paul's a friend of mine. Known Dr. Paul for many years with Kentucky Taxpayers United, and he's been a great champion of liberty, and we, all three of us, worked real hard to get him elected in Kentucky.
How do you think what you learned there will apply to what you're doing here?
Well, Rand Paul wasn't supposed to win in Kentucky. He was up against an establishment candidate who was the Secretary of State, a well-respected individual, very nice individual, and there's a lot of energy in the Tea Party movement, and we were able to harness that energy and turn it into a victory for Rand Paul. And again, the grassroots volunteerism is really making an impact on these elections.